What is up, light fighters, and welcome back to the channel. As you can probably tell from the shoulder holsters and the dumb sign in the background, this is Light Fighters Anonymous, your safe place for both the professional and amateur light fighter alike. As you guys know, I am just an amateur light fighter. I am just pretending out here, but I did class professionally as a healer for about 10 years now. I have been a paramedic. I do not often work on the ambulance. However, tomorrow I've got to spend 24 hours working on an ambulance. And I thought, what better time to go ahead and refresh some of my personal medical gear and some of my IFAKs that are getting a little crusty and expired.
Eagle 2, this is Light Fighter 1-1. How copy, over.
Contact!
Contact!
1-1, this is Eagle 2, good copy, set traffic, over.
All right, guys, so to start off, I want to give a big shout out to Jay over at the Prepared Citizens training group. He does an excellent job, both with his YouTube channel, but also his store, Prepared Citizens Training Group, obviously is his store, where he sells a variety of excellent medical equipment. And that's where I recently just bought some of this new stuff that I'm going to show you guys today, and I'm kind of very excited to bring you to the new stuff here in just a few minutes. First, I kind of want to show you what I have been carrying in my old IFAKs. What I have in front of me is just an assortment of the different IFAKs that I do carry. This is just an old special operations equipment or original SOE medical pullout that I can just throw in like a triple mag carrier. And this is just a simple little PTAC gear Chinese knockoff of something nicer, I'm sure. IFAK that can either be stuck on a belt, low profile, or I just toss it in my ruck sometimes. And then finally, I've just got my everyday carry off body carry. I do carry a little bit of medical every day. When you're doing off-body carry, you might as well carry some medical. So I went ahead and restocked those with some excellent stuff that I got from Jay over at the Prepared Citizens. But let's go ahead and talk you through the stuff that I was carrying here. I got a whole box of medical overstock, and hopefully it doesn't fall. Obviously, some of my favorite equipment, long time carrying for a long time, is the cat tourniquet, guys. I've got a bunch of these things, and these are great. I like these things because they're tried and true. They've been used for a long time. They stop bleeds effectively. They're easy to put on by a single user. They can stage pretty well. And they're, for the most part, pretty dummy proof. Just, pop your windlass out and give it a twist, and you'll generally stop the bleeding with this. The downside to these, really, I don't think there's a huge downside to these, is they're just not the most packable system. And then with their Velcro on the inside and outside, they do become just a little hard to sometimes store and use. And they get a little ratty in your pouches. So if you ever store your tourniquet on the outside of your gear, you probably have a couple of rats that are all frayed up. And you're wondering, it's like, do I really want to save this if I'm bleeding? I don't know. For that reason specifically, I like the soft T wide tourniquets. I like these because they're a little bit more robust. You get a metal windlass, you get solid nylon. There's no hook and loop or Velcro to catch surfaces. And then you've got metal fixtures all around. So I do like the metal fixtures. Some people complain about the metal fixtures being a little hard to use. I just say don't be a bitch. Again, the soft T can be applied by the single operator, but you'll see that I am struggling a little bit harder to get it on. You got to kind of ratchet it on. And is that a downside? Well, you be the judge. I like carrying the soft T as a paramedic. I'm carrying it to generally, hopefully, apply to somebody else. But then if you need it off in a hurry, you can obviously just work your metal hardware, and then it comes free. So I love the soft T wides just because they're very robust tourniquet. Everything is made of metal or heavy-duty nylon, and these hold up really well to abuse. If you're going to wear your tourniquet on the outside of your pack, it's a fantastic option. However, I bought a new tourniquet, and I usually don't buy new tourniquets because I like the tried and true stuff. But what I have recently bought from over at Prepared Citizens, guys, and I now got in my IFAKs, is a Snakestaff Systems everyday carry. I think they call it the EDC tourniquet or the ETQ. It's everyday tourniquet, all right? Now, this is very similar to a cat. It's got plastic hardware, kind of plastic windlass. I think these are incredibly robust. They've been tried and tested. I watched some other people do it. And then I bought two so I can mess with this one. Very similar to a cat, except for it's just a little bit simpler to use. It comes pre-staged, pretty smart for you, and it says pull tight. You can put this on with a single arm very easily. And then it does have the Velcro. So however tight you pull it, you just Velcro it down just like an old cat, and it's just twist the windlass and then tuck it in, wrap this over. It works just like a cat tourniquet. I like that because if somebody finds this in my gear, they're gonna figure out how to use it right away. Also, I find that this nylon material is just much nicer quality than the nylon and the hook and loop used on a cat tourniquet. Although it seems the same, this stuff is a little bit thinner and stiffer somehow, which means it just is going to carry real well, stage really well. And I think the way they do it is they bring it up like this, do a couple Z-folds in the back, and then tuck it up in front. And then it's staged and ready to go. Pretty simple. So that is the Snakestaff Systems ETQ Everyday Tourniquet System. I got that over at Prepared Citizens. And I'm kind of using that to replace a few of my tourniquets. I carry a lot of tourniquets just kind of sprinkled around all my gear. I think medical gear is best, like, you know, be the medical pixie and just sprinkle that pixie dust everywhere. Have a little bit of it spread out everywhere. Because in an emergency, you just go to the first, most obvious place where you have gear. And if it's right in your face and it's right in your way everywhere, well, that's what you grab and it's there for you. So enough with the tourniquets. All right, guys, the next piece of medical gear that I have been carrying for the long time, and I think you should carry in your IFAK, is like compressed gauze. For the longest time, I've got an assortment here in front of me. I really like the Z-folded compressed gauze. Now, everyone sells this stuff. This is H&H, this is some NAR stuff, I can tell by the packaging. This is some stuff that was tactically acquired from the military many, many years ago and is probably very expired. But all this gauze is fine. This gauze is used for stopping bleeding, okay? The thing about gauze is you just never have enough of it, and for that reason, I really like the stuff that's vacuum sealed and compressed. You can fit a lot more in your IFAK. This stuff, as you can see, probably the same amount of gauze in both these packs, but this one has just got some air in it and is not as packed as well. Same with this one. I really like these compressed briquettes of gauze. You'd be amazed at what comes out of these. It's a good amount of gauze. And again, of course, we're using this for stopping the bleed, wound packing, or just addressing large lacerations or penetrations or burns or anything like that. These are dry and sterile. Just anything on, external to the body. So wound packing or external, these are great. They work for pretty much everything. And also, another thing I used to carry a lot of because I thought they were cool is like cinch tights or Izzy bandages or these pre-built compression bandages. This one's from NAR. This one's obviously an Izzy, as everyone recognizes, and this one's a cinch tight. What these are, and I stopped carrying these, is basically a compression bandage with gauze built in for it. Now, these are excellent for secondary care, like in a field setting with secondary care. But if you're just going to pack your IFAK with just a little bit of stuff, I like to use the stuff that can be more used universally. This gauze right here, there's a ton of it. There's more actual gauze in these packs right here than there is in any of these things right here. This can be used for wound packing, and it can be used on an external bleed. However, what these have, just the gauze doesn't have, is a compression bandage built in. And that's why I was very excited to get introduced to, by, again, Prepared Citizens Training Group, the Slishman pressure bandage. Now, at first, I was a little like, what the hell is this thing? I've never seen this thing. I've been working in EMS for 10 years, and I've never seen one of these. What is it? Well, I haven't seen it in EMS because it's one-time use, because once you bleed on it, you got to throw it away, and it's a little expensive just to be thrown on every homeless guy I encounter with a small bleed. But this is a Slishman pressure wrap, and what this does, this little thing that's basically size the same as smaller than a cat tourniquet, same size as a gauze, is this will provide me the ability to compress any amount of gauze on an external appendage, just like an Izzy bandage would. But the advantage of these is it's one size fits all. So if I have an arm, these are really easy to use. If I have an arm injury, I can just wrap it up here, even by myself, and then it's got some real good Velcro on it right now, because it's brand new. But then I just cinch it tight and start wrapping. It's got Velcro stitched into it every couple of inches, so you don't lose it on the floor, you don't lose it in a puddle of blood, you can just keep wrapping. And then obviously that Velcro just keeps grabbing onto itself as you go. So if I needed to go wider, I can go wider. If I need to stack it on and really go really tight, I can go really tight. So I like this because this basically gives me, the downside to carrying these Izzies is like, this one's a 4-inch, and this one's a 6-inch, and this one's, who knows what size. You never know what size you have, and then you've got this huge package. you definitely probably don't have the exact right. You probably got too much dressing. So this Slishman is an excellent way, I got it on pretty tight, is an excellent way to, in an IFAK, that very initial first line of care that you're gonna get, provide some compression, free a hand from attending to a wound, so you can worry about casualty evacuation, getting off the X, and finding a fucking doctor. So guys, again, this is the Slishman pressure wrap, very cool. I'm keeping these in my IFAKs in combination with some gauze. Obviously, Jay over at the Prepared Citizen sells gauze at probably some of the best price I've seen. And these are a great little small package. These are like almost credit card size pack. I keep 4 of them in there. You can just, you know, if you want 2, keep 2. If you got room for 4, pack 4 in there. I love having a ton of gauze. Also, the Slishmans, if you are super tactical, unlike me, they do come in black if you prefer. So if you're a tactical guy, you can get your Slishman in black. It'll match all your other injuries. I like carrying the orange one just so I easily can identify it as different than everything else in my gear. My tourniquets are black already, so if I see a little bundle of black when I'm in panic mode, I'm like, oh, that's a tourniquet. Well, the Slishmans in orange prevent that, and again, they're great. Easy to stage, although the Velcro is very sticky. You just start rolling them up gently. You don't want to pull them tight as you're rolling them up and staging them because then your elastic will wear out. But just gentle roll. And then once you reach the last Velcro right here about the end, I like to leave a big enough loop for my arm right there, just so that little bit will hang out, or an appendage or whatever. It just gives you the obvious, like, hey, wound goes here. All right, guys, so the last little things you'll see that I'm carrying in both of my mainline IFAKs, aside from the Slishman, some gauze, I'm still carrying these chest darts. Now, I'm hesitant to carry these. I don't think these are completely necessary. This is a big 10-gauge sterile needle. This will stop, technically, in a perfect situation, stop tension hemo or pneumo, which will aid with somebody's breathing. However, if you need this, people are already having breathing problems and you already need to be supporting them respiratorily. Is that a word? I don't know. But that means you need like a BVM and someone helping this guy breathe, and that's just already more equipment than you have. So again, I like to not get carried away with your IFAKs. However, for those chest injuries, I still do carry the dart. I still do carry the occlusive chest seal, or the 2-pack of chest seals in there, just in case. But realize that when you start having respiratory problems, you need to be able to support that breathing. And if you don't have oxygen, access to oxygen, or a bag valve mask system that can help somebody, help ventilate an unconscious patient, you're already in a lot of trouble. So I really like focusing my IFAKs to just that immediate, that big bleed, that immediate care, and then, you know, backing your IFAK up with some good litter carrying capabilities, some nylon webbing, something that can drag somebody or carry somebody to a vehicle and get them to, you know, surgical capability ASAP. But I know some of you guys wanted an update on my IFAKs and what I was carrying, and I thought, hey, I was watching Jay, he had some stuff I wanted to buy, and I was like, what a good time to order a mug and some cool new medical gear I want to try out that I'm pretty excited for. Also, he's got great prices on this stuff, and great prices on gauze specifically. So guys, get on Prepared Citizens training group, tell him Brock from Light Fighters sent you, at least get you a Slishman. These things are slick as shit. And I really like these Snakestaff system tourniquets too. So check them out, guys. Shout out to Jay Prepared Citizens. Rock on, stay sharp, and kiss your mothers.